good morning, everybody. This is Joe. It's November 4th, Sunday. What is it? 6:45 Mountain Standard Time. We just switched back from daylight savings to real time. And today there is the Day of the Dead, the Dia de los Muertos parade in Albuquerque in the South Valley, but I can't go to that because I'm hosting a typewriter gathering. Yes, the ABQ Typewriter Fiesta is going on today, this afternoon at 1 p.m. at Pennysmiths Paper in Albuquerque's North Valley. And myself and Kevin Kittle have been planning this for some time, and so I got most of my stuff all ready to go. Last night I was making late nighttime preparations, deciding on the final selection of typewriters and everything else. So preparations have been made, and hopefully we're going to have a good turnout today. Well, this is my poster, and this started out, we had this poster made by an artist back in April of 2017, I believe, when we had our first typewriter gathering. And since then, I've kind of modified it. I put this title up here, Albuquerque Typewriter Fiesta. We put a little sign up here for Pennysmiths Paper, and I have this cheap little wooden easel. So that's going to be along the breezeway of the strip mall where the paper store is, and hopefully directing people down to the end of the strip mall where the paper store is. And of course I had to figure out how to keep this poster from flying off the easel, and so we ended up engineering, we meaning my wife and I, ended up engineering binder clips and of course bungee cords, right? But anyway, here is the selection of typewriters I'm going to be taking. I already have a Olympia Report electronic typewriter. This is the Smith Corona Coronet Automatic 12 Electric. Here's a Hermes 3000. Here are two Smith Corona Silence, a Silent and a Silent Super. This is the 1930 Underwood Portable. We have the Silver Seiko Royal Mercury. We have a Facet 1620 and the Olympia SF. That's going to be, I think, a good selection of reliable typewriters for people to use. And then a box of accessory stuff, including a cassette tape recorder player and spare ribbons to sell, and correction tape cartridges and things like that. There's been a lot of preparation behind the scenes to make an event like this possible, and anybody who's hosted a typewriter gathering knows the work required. You can't do this alone. I really am fortunate to have Kevin Kittle as a fellow typewriter conspirator here in Albuquerque to help me. He's done a lot of great work, and this typewriter event is going to be special because not only are we going to have typewriter, we're going to have vinyl records, and actually not vinyl, shellac records. We're going to do some gift giveaways today during the type-in, and we're going to use a special record that Kevin found in his collection. We have a typing instructional record, one of those records to teach people how to type, and we are going to be playing that as well during the type-in. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope everybody enjoys it. Another crucial thing you need if you're going to be having a successful typewriter gathering is you need a venue that is willing to host the event and is willing to do some of the work for you. And we have been fortunate in the last year to have Pennysmiths Paper as our host, and they have done great stuff. They've done their own promotions of the event, and they're supplying most of our tables and our folding chairs, so we don't have to go and get as many ourselves, and that is a great help to us, and just in terms of the logistics of moving things and getting things there. So they're wonderful people. They really support this event, and if you're in Albuquerque and you're interested in stationery, fine pens and paper and stuff, you should go down to Rio Grande Boulevard, just north of Griegos, where the Flying Star Cafe is. Visit Pennysmiths Paper, and then wander into Bookworks, find yourself a nice book to read, and then go to Flying Star Cafe and have yourself lunch or dinner or breakfast. One of the challenges of hosting or putting on one of these events for me personally is I'd like to wear multiple hats. I would like to be playing with typewriters and just talking to people. I am going to do some of that. However, I also have to be a host, and I have to greet people, talk with them, and find out their names, their backgrounds, find out what they're interested in and what kind of machines they're interested in using. And then I also want to do some video recording for this video perhaps, and maybe another video, and maybe even a little bit of interview work. And so all of this means that I'm just like jumping around trying to do multiple things at once. And that also means I have to decide what kind of equipment I'm going to bring. Well, I got the car packed up with typewriters and all kinds of stuff. And so it's roughly a little after 9 o'clock in the morning, standard mountain time. I'm going to go down to Nob Hill at Michael Thomas Coffee and meet the film photography group, and then from there head on out to the typewriter event. Well, I just got out of the New Mexico film photographers meeting. It was almost 2 hours. We had a great time. And now I'm going to head down to the valley to Pennysmiths Paper and start setting up for the type. All I did is talk and socialize and show people typewriters. No, come over here, come to the typewriter. Well, the type-in is basically over. We're sort of putting everything up, and it's been like 3 hours of just nonstop wonderful fun here, and all the typewriters are being packed up. We had a young kid, I don't know how old the kid was, 10 years old maybe?
The little girl?
Yeah, a little girl at one.
10, yeah.
10-year-old girl won the Sears Forecast 12 Smith Corona typewriter, which is great. It's good to see a kid win a typewriter.
And I don't know who was more thrilled, her or her dad.
Oh, I know. Because her dad I guess he had bought her a Skywriter, it sounds like he said. And he was glad to see her win another typewriter, which, you know, you're starting another typewriter convert here. But anyways, we had a great turnout, and we want to really thank Pennysmiths Paper for their hospitality and hosting this. And if you're in Albuquerque and you want any stationery, office supply, pens, come down to Rio Grande Boulevard, Pennysmiths Paper. They're wonderful people. We had a great time. Well, it's about 7:15 in the evening Sunday night. We're back from the typewriter event. We had dinner at the Flying Star Cafe after the event, and it was a blast. We had a lot of people. We had a continuous stream of people coming through for the 3 hours. Actually, we had people there before the official 1 o'clock start time while we were still setting up tables and typewriters and stuff. And it was a great event again, and it seems like we get more and more people every year. One of the things that we did this year is we had a little sign-up sheet and a little flyer to promote the idea of starting a little typewriter society, a group of aficionados that could meet in a semi-regular basis and in a smaller venue to ourselves and just socialize around typewriter culture. And so we have a good sign-up sheet of quite a few people, and so I'm going to try pursuing in the coming weeks and months, putting together some of the first meetings of this group and gaining some interest in this. And one of the reasons why I want to do this is because one of the things I noticed about having attended the Phoenix type-ins the last several times I've gone is the Phoenix area, of course, it's more populous than the Albuquerque area. But in the typewriter community, there is a larger core group of typewriter aficionados who attend the type-ins. And so, for instance, when I was thinking about what kind of machines am I going to bring to this type-in, I knew that the majority of people who would be attending would be newcomers to typewriters, don't know anything about typewriters. And so really what I wanted was Machines that were basic, reliable, good operating machines, your Smith Corona 5 series and things like that, Hermes 3000s, things that are easy to use, not necessarily exotic or special. But I know that if the target audience was more of the typewriter collector crowd, then I might consider bringing some more exotic typewriters that the general public might not be aware of or might not appreciate. So it brought to my mind the idea that in our Albuquerque area, we're a smaller community and we're more of a fledgling community. We really need to start growing our typewriter culture and more of a social network. It surprises me, though, this is maybe the second typewriter event that I've held where there's been a number of people who've attended who I don't know from Adam who end up having a typewriter collection. There was somebody that walked in, an older gentleman. He has almost 30 typewriters, and he's been collecting typewriters for a long time. Don't know anything about him because he's not on social media. So there are phantom, if you want to call them, hidden typewriter collectors out there that have big collections that aren't connected to our internet world of the typosphere. And it's wonderful to find those people, and I think it's important to connect with them. And so this is exciting to me, is making those connections and building a community of typewriter adepts. One of the other things that struck me was during these typewriter events, more and more it seems that I will serve the function of like the host. A new person or a new couple comes in, I'll tell them what's going on. I'll introduce them to the idea of the typewriter. I'll invite them to sit down at a typewriter. I'll try to read them a little bit and see what kind of a machine should I start them with. I'll kind of query them in conversation about, do they have any past experience with typewriters? Do they have any typewriters in their family? Did they ever use a typewriter when they were younger, et cetera, et cetera? I'll get them started. I'll thread up a paper, show them the basics of how a machine works, maybe then later move them to another machine. And so I find myself playing the role of this host when I'd also like to be shooting video. And so you'll notice in this summary video, I didn't shoot much video during the type-in. I shot some introductory footage, and then at the end, when it was all over and we were packing up, I got around to shooting more video. So I didn't have time to shoot any video. Kevin, on the other hand, was very busy with also hosting and also showing around typewriters, people to typewriters, more so the collection of electrics that we had. And also he was running our giveaway contest, which involved 78 records and a little contest with balloons and everything that we did. So both Kevin and I end up being really busy, fully loaded, and we don't have time. Like, I don't have time to shoot video, and he doesn't have time maybe to do other things he'd like to do. So one of the purposes for wanting to recruit more people into our local typewriter group is to get more people involved in helping us with these typewriter events, the large public events. So that's interesting. And I hope going forward we do find people enthusiastic enough that want to participate that way. So we did have a giveaway contest, and we gave away numerous prizes. We had 2 typewriters to give away. And we also had like some correction tape and ribbons and things like that. And so and what we did was very creative, and it involved our host, Pennysmiths Papers, and they had supplied us with some balloons that were decorated with what looked like typewriter key letters. And we had little slips of paper in the balloons that indicated what the prize was. And then Kevin had brought his Zenith 78 RPM record player. This is a tubed record player that uses a diamond needle from the 1950s. And so he brought an assortment of 78 shellac records. And so he played some music from that era on his player. He didn't have the time to play as much as he wanted because, of course, as I indicated earlier, he was busy hosting people and all that. But he also ran the giveaway. And what involved was he had a special record he found in 78. And this record has 6 grooves, 6 parallel grooves. And so each track is rather short, only like less than a minute. But what it is, it's a horse race record. And each groove will play the announcer announcing the race, and you hear they're off, and then the announcer's announcing, and then finally at the very end of the groove, it'll tell you which horse won, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And the trick to this is when you drop the needle on the record to start it, you don't know what groove it's going to play in, and every time you drop the needle on it, it plays a different groove, and it's random, so it's kind of a semi-random thing. So what we did to do the giveaway contest is we would pick 6 guests. Each of them will be given a number between 1 and 6, and then we would do the horse race record, and whoever won the race got to choose one of those balloons, and they would choose the balloon. We'd pop the balloon, the slip of paper falls out, and that tells them what their prize was. And their last giveaway item was a Sears Forecast 12, which is like a Smith Corona 6 Series typewriter, and like a 10-year-old girl won that typewriter, and her dad was ecstatic, and she was very happy, and we were very happy to see a kid win a typewriter. That's the kind of a creative thing that I really appreciate Kevin doing for this typewriter event. It really helped a lot. It really was fun. Another one of our guests was a regular participant. Name is Jarrell, a young man who I've interviewed on this channel before. And he's building himself a pretty good collection of standard upright machines. And he brought maybe 4 of them this time, and including his newest, which is an old L.C. Smith. So I'm really interested in Jarrell's enthusiasm for really old upright machines. As a young man under 18 years old, it's really exciting to see young people get this enthusiastic about typewriters. Now, despite the efforts we made to advertise and publicize this event, we had several couples who walked in without knowing the event was going on ahead of time. They were just in the shopping center or at the Flying Star Cafe. And one of them, in fact, was really excited to find a typewriter event because he had a typewriter at home and has had kind of an interest in typewriters and wanted to get more interested in typewriters. And all of a sudden, he thought he had this secret hobby that nobody else knew about. And all of a sudden he walks in and there's a huge group of people that are into the same thing he's into. So again, it is exciting to see that there are hidden groups of typewriter aficionados, secret typewriter aficionados, in a sense that they're not connected to the typosphere of social media. And they're out there and they're just waiting. They don't know they're waiting, but we're waiting to find them and to bring them in our circle, and that's really exciting to see. Well, thank you for coming along on this video. I'm sorry I didn't shoot more video of the actual event as it was going, but boy, we were super busy. We had a great turnout. Thank you again, and if you're ever in the Albuquerque area, coming this April of 2019, we're going to have another typewriter event for you to attend. And until next time, have yourselves a great day.